Today, the week in review for March 17th. We're looking at 2 full releases and a lot of beta games to look over, so let's get started. We had 2 full releases. First was Stock Exchange on Monday, an economic-driven game where instead of stocks, you have flowers that you're kind of keeping hidden to take place of the stocks. During your turn, you have 2 actions that you can do, basic actions, which either swap, where you're going to take one of your bulbs and put it in the stock exchange line, or you can put a bulb down and try to surround a group of flowers. So here, I surrounded the flowers, the 2 white ones here. They go off the board, they go on this path, and they'll slowly grow all the way to these numbers here. And you see, since I removed 2 flowers, the white bloom goes on 2. Now every white flower I have in my hidden area is worth 2 points. Then you'll keep going. You do have 3 bonus actions with these little tools here that you can use. One wipes the board completely. The other ones allow you to either place or take. You can always take and exchange 2 tokens. This is a visual glitch, but if I didn't need my orange flower anymore, I could take a red one and switch the 2 around, and then I'd have a red one here. So you keep going, and then eventually at the end of the game, whatever flower type is the highest on this score track actually gets cut in half. And then that's how many points it's worth. So if it was at 10, it'd get cut down to 5. And now that leading flower, so if we end here, the orange would actually go to 2 points. And then orange would be worth 2, white would be worth 2, and then all these would be worth none. And then you would see what your flowers you have down here, and that's how you would score your points. Overall, the game plays fine. Not a game that I'll be playing a lot more of, but if you like that kind of game, it is there for you. A game I will be playing a lot more is Great Western Trail El Paso. So I'm a big fan of the Great Western Trail series. So in this game, it plays very similar to all the other Great Western Trails, but it is a lighter and quicker version. Some of the big differences, your workers are now cards, which is interesting because once you buy them, they go down here. Then when you use them, they go to your discard, and then they shuffle back. And then as you draw them, they get pulled out of your deck. You don't have to keep them in your hand. So that's kind of a cool, different mechanism. The train is also a lot different. You see here, you just discard 2 conductors and money, and then you get to do those 2 actions. So it does play quite a bit different. I think it works well for BGA. I would definitely in person want to play New Zealand or the base game with the expansion over this, but I think it plays really well on here. Plays great turn-based, so it's a great fit for BGA for sure. And now up for our beta games. We have 12 beta games the last week to go over. I do owe you Easy Peasy. Easy Peasy is a unreleased game, a really lightweight family game, all based around cards. And the game is, as it's named, Easy Peasy. All you're trying to do is get rid of your cards. As you see, you have 2 cards that are faced up that your opponent can see, and then you have a hand of 4. Your options for the turn are to play cards, or if you can't play cards, in this case I have to go up, so up higher, then I have to draw cards. And then after one player gets rid of all their cards, the round is over. And then depending on the cards you have left in your hand, you score points. And then whoever has the lowest score at the end of the game wins. If you happen to match colors, you do get to play 2 cards. So there I played a 4. And then I could play the 7. And then the 9. So there's a little bit of luck. I mean, the game's all luck, but there's a little bit of luck there with the colors. You can get rid of more cards. And then I was able to flip over my card there, you see. So that's Easy Peasy. I'm not a huge fan, and I won't be probably playing that again. Next, we have Sphinx, a puzzle co-op game that can be played solo, of course. And my experience, I think solo is where it's at. Here, you see it came out last year. BGG agrees with me. Solo is more playable. It's probably best solo or with one other person. In this game, you're going to try to complete riddles, which are getting these symbols in order, either top to bottom or left to right. The goal of the game is to complete the certain number here, depending on your difficulty. So here I have 9 in total. So I think you have 12 turns here to complete all those. You have two basic actions, which allow you to swap tiles left and right and then flip them over. Tiles do have to be this more blue tealish color to score. And then you have special actions here. Up and down, but you can do it twice. This is diagonal. Flip over, but again, you can do it twice. Or this is move a whole row down and this top one will go up, and then so on. You can gain these reward actions once you complete a riddle. But you see here, you do two basic actions, which are these two, and then you're going to do one of the special actions. One thing I found really helpful was clicking on the riddles will show you where they're at and in order. So overall, this is a fun, easy puzzle game that I enjoyed playing. I played it 3 or 4 times. I think this one's worth time checking out, especially if you like solo puzzle games. Then we have Bunny Drops, a resource management card game. I also think a little bit of drafting in there as well. Very lightweight game. Not a whole lot of information on BGG. What you're going to be doing in this game is you're going to choose a row or a column. So here I take this bunny here and the 3 items below them, or vice versa. I took this bunny here and I have 3 items here, and I'm trying to fulfill his needs. I do not have enough to fulfill his needs, so I go to the next round. You see, we play a total of 8 rounds of taking one bunny at a time. Once you have enough to fulfill its needs, you'll see here, now I get to pick which bunny I want to feed. So carrot, I can use this as a wild, and then leaf. And then that bunny's needs are fulfilled. You can see here the scoring. You get 1 point for each food item on fed bunnies. You get plus 3 points if all bunnies collected have different color tags. You get plus 1 point for each bunny poop card picked up. You get 1 point for each swept bunny drop card. You lose 2 points if you don't have a bunny fed at the end of the game. You lose 1 point for every leftover food, and then 1 negative point for each bunny drop left over. My buddy really enjoyed this game. I didn't as much. It's, I think, just too light for me. It's fine, but a 6, if that, for me. Now, just because the game's light doesn't mean it's no good. Here's a prime example of a game that is a very light game that I actually enjoyed a lot more. Popular game here, can be played with lots of players. I think that's a big appeal of it. I do feel like this one is way better in person. I think this is probably a very lame game turn-based. I did play turn-based to learn how to play it and do it, and I find in person or real time a lot better. The gameplay is pretty simple. You're going to be all dealt a card, and then during your turn you could hit or stand, much like blackjack. But here, instead of trying to hit 21, none of the number cards can match, is what you're trying to avoid. If any of your number cards match, you bust. There are a lot of special cards. Second Chance gives you 2 lives. Freeze allows you to freeze opponent. This just gives you 8 total points. So there's a lot of cool special cards in there. Now, here in the deck, there are 12 12s, 11 11s, 10 10s, and so on. There's 1 0, 1 1, and then a few of each of these special cards. So there, I chose to stand, and I get the points that I had in my card. So I'm currently winning with 27. My opponent has 22. And you just keep going until someone gets 200 points. There is a special hand where you flip 7 cards. If you flip 7 cards over, it ends the round, and I believe you score extra 15 points. Like I said, overall, this one's light, but I found like this one's a fun light. The flipping over is a lot of fun. I do think this probably works better in person, but playing it real time, I think, still gives you some of that feeling and can be a lot of fun. Then there were 6 traditional playing card games. 4 of the 6 were trick-taking style games, but these types of games really aren't for me, so I didn't really play much of them. To save time, I'll talk about my favorite, which was Crash. In Crash, you're going to be looking at a hand, and you have 1 mulligan where you can get rid of all the cards. Then you're going to be looking for poker-style hands to play in these 4 spots here. You will have 1 card left over. You see here, you can get a 3 of a kind. You can get a running flush, a run, a flush, a pair, and then a high card. So then you put up your best combinations, and then you score points based on who has the better hand. There, I did terrible. But the next hand I do a little better. So as you can tell, there's going to be a lot of luck to this game. But there is some choice in trying to figure out which hand will score the best. And then you play first to 15 wins. And then Deliverance. It's a cooperative game. It does suggest real time, which I agree. I tried to play it turn-based and did not enjoy it very much. Deliverance is rated really well. It is a 2-year-old game. It is on the heavier side, and it takes 1 to 2 hours to play. You play as one of the angels on this board here, and your goal is to destroy all the demons. You do gain these talents here, which will make you a little bit stronger. There's also equipment you gain to make your stats better. And there's a lot of strategy needed to execute the plan to make sure that you win the game. A lot to take in. It was a little bit harder of a game to learn. I still don't have a very good grasp of it, but I have a general idea of what you're trying to do. Basically, defeat the demons is the big goal of the game, while leveling up your character, making him stronger. There's this darkness deck that'll come out. All the cards are face down, and then at a certain point, they start flipping over and affecting you that way. But there's definitely a lot to this game. Next up, Prapu, a game where you're playing either the granny or the wind. In this game, the granny has to try to do all her chores. She has to keep the house clean, make the bed, cook, and set the table. Or if you're playing the wind, you're trying to open a door and a window. The way you're doing that is everybody will have 4 cards in their hand, and basically you're playing them on these 4 different spots, and it's kind of trick taking, where if I play a bed on the bed, this becomes trump. Whereas if I play the 2 here, it is not trump. All right, so you see to set the table, Granny needs 1 token. Cook, she needs 2. Clean, she needs 2. And then make the bed, she needs 3. The wind needs 1 token at the door to open it. And then to open a window, you need 3 tokens. Now it is a trick taking, like I said. So if no trump is there, the 4 is the stronger. If a trump is there, obviously the trump card's higher than any non-trump suit. And then if there's 2 trumps, the highest trump wins. Then you can see you'll be placing, battling back and forth, adding tokens to try to get these goals achieved. And then lastly, we have Cake Master. Cake Master is a drafting game where you're trying to make 3 cakes, and certain characters want certain things on their cakes, different frostings, etc. Came out last year. It's a quick light game of closed drafting. So you see you get dealt 3 here. You are going to play 3 rounds. You have an idea of what this person would like. They want 5 blueberries, exactly 5 blueberries. So you draft here. So I draft the 2 blueberries. Then those 2 cards get sent over. I get the other 2. You draft, and then so on. Then you have to place the cakes in here. Cakes are judged by tasty points, which is basically this graph here. So if you see here, this cake had 2 different icings. So that gives you 1 tasty point. Whereas if you got all of 1 frosting type, you'd get 3 tasting points. If you get 3, you get 0 tasting. If you complete these little rosettes, you get 1 tasty points. Half ones are worth nothing. And then if you get a pair of the fruit, you get 1 tasty point. And that's how you score points based on the cakes you made. And then your customers, if you can meet their needs, will give you extra points as well. And that's it. My pick of the week is Flip 7. It was the one that I had the most fun with. It's really simple to pick up. I do suggest playing it real time, especially if you know the people and can play, over some kind of voice communication or something. Makes it a lot of fun. Or there's always the chat. You can, poke fun, laugh when you bust, or when somebody actually makes a Flip 7 and ends the round and scores a bunch of points. It's a lot of fun. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, I'm the Digital Board Gamer. Good luck and have fun.